Hey, how's it going? Welcome to another MLittleProgramming tutorial. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at user input in Python. We'll look at how to accept input from a user, how to prompt a user to input into a program, how to manipulate the data received from a user, and how to restrict the input received from a user. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of this type of content. Let's jump straight into it. So, how do we accept input from users? Well, Python has an inbuilt function called input. Input can be called anywhere in a Python program. Once Python reads the input function, it will stop the running of the Python program and will wait for a user input. So, today we can just jump straight into PyCharm and call the input function. When we run this, you'll see that our program is running and waiting. You can see that because there's two buttons that are available to click on the side here. One is to stop the program running, the other is to rerun the program. When these buttons are both available to press, that usually indicates our program's running and stuck waiting for something to happen. In this case, what it's waiting for is for us to input something into the terminal just here. So if I come into this terminal and type MLittleProgramming and press enter, our program will actually stop running. The program has stopped running because all our program is asking for is input, and once we've entered the input, there's nothing else left for our program to do, so it just ends. However, as you can see, this process wasn't particularly obvious. To make it more obvious to a user what they need to do, we would want to provide a prompt to ask them to enter some input. To do this, we can just pass a string as an argument into the input function. So we can pass something in like, enter some input. Now if we run this, a prompt appears asking us for some input. And again, we can type MLittleProgramming, followed by hitting the enter key, and then our program will end. This program is very simple at the moment. If we were to embed this functionality of user input into perhaps a larger program, we may want to store this information. We can actually assign this call to the input function to a variable. The variable will store whatever the user inputs into a program, so we can call our variable user input. Beneath that, we can do anything we normally do with the data inside a variable. To start off, we'll just print the user's input. We'll run the program again. When we type some input this time, for example the number 36, our program prints 36 and then ends. You may want to manipulate the data received from a user. So for example, if we wanted to double the input we're getting here, we might create another variable, call it manipulate input, and multiply our user input by 2. However, when we run this and input 36, what the program prints is actually 36, 36. This is because all input entered by the user into the program is taken as a string. However, all is not lost. In Python, there is a way to specify the type of a variable. This can be done with what is called casting. Python is an object-oriented language, and as such uses classes to define data, including its primitive types. Casting in Python is therefore done using constructor functions. In this case, we can pass our variable into the int constructor function. This will allow us to construct an integer from a string. So, if we come into this variable and pass our user input variable into the int constructor function and run the program, we can now type 36 as input into the program again. This time, 36 is being interpreted as an integer, and so when we times it by 2, the output will now be 72. We can ask the user to enter multiple inputs in a program's runtime. For example, we could ask the user for a series of characters and build up a string. To do this, we will create another variable and call it userInput2. Here, we can make use of the prompts to inform the user that the program is expecting a character from them. The first prompt will now be enter a character, then our second prompt will be enter a second character. We can then add the two user inputs together to concatenate them. When we run this now, the user will initially be prompted to enter a single character. Once they have entered a single character and pressed enter, they'll be prompted to enter a second character. Once they have entered the second character and pressed enter, the program will print both of the characters they entered, concatenated together as a string. This program works fine when the user is following the rules, but what if they don't? Nothing's stopping the user here typing in a word or even a sentence. We need some way to restrict the user's input. Now, the first way we could do this is by adding square brackets to the end of our two variables with a 0 inside when we are concatenating them. This would mean we would only concatenate the first character from each string. The other way we can restrict user input is by adding square brackets to the end of our two input calls with a 0 inside. This would mean we would only store the first character from each string. So now when we run the program again and type a word each time, the program will still only print the first character of each respective word. And that's about it for user input in Python. I'll put a link to the code you've seen in this video in the description down below. Thank you for watching the video this far. I hope you got a lot of value from it. If you'd like to see more Python programming tutorials, there will be a link in the description down below to a playlist of Python programming tutorials. With that said, if you liked the video, if you could drop a like on the video, it would be much appreciated as it really helps the channel, and subscribe to see new Python programming tutorials every week. Also, if you've got any questions about the video, drop a comment down below and I'll get back to you. Have a great day.